So I did my speech over standardized testing. My overall question was whether or not it is fair for all students to have to take the standardized test. I don't think that it is. I don't think that the standardized test should be a mandatory thing for all students to have to take. In elementary school, a lot of kids have many good memories, but I know for me, one of the ones I can always think back to that I was not so fond of was having to sit in a room for multiple days or a week and take tests all day long on a computer. For me, I was very fortunate because I never had any negative impacts from these tests, and they actually benefited me more than most students. I was put in advanced classes. I had a lot of advantages compared to other students in my class and people that I knew. Some people got held back grades just because their test scores wasn't as high or good. Some people needed extra help or were put in more remedial classes because they couldn't catch on as fast. So standardized testing has positive and negative impacts, but I think that the negatives are more prominent than the positives. My first point, the standardized tests are legally required in every state, and they vary. Not every test is the same, and it's based off of the state's curriculum. For students like military kids, which that's how I've grown up my entire life, is as a military kid, it's hard to move in the middle of a school year, even the end of a school year, and move to a new place where the entire curriculum is different than where you lived before, and you're expected to catch on and know all of these topics and subjects that you're supposed to be testing on that same year. And you're automatically expected to know it without going over or being taught it. So I was thrown into that same situation one year I moved, and they were taking state tests. I didn't even know what they were doing in class, much less on their test that was supposed to reflect what the teacher had taught me. There is the No Child Left Behind Act that is put into place, which is supposed to stop students from being held back in these circumstances, and there still are students getting held back every single year based on grades or test scores. If you don't pass your 8th grade reading test, you don't get your driver's license, and I personally know people who had to keep taking their 8th grade reading test all through high school and be in remediation classes just because of one state test they were required to take and could not pass. And it affected what they were going to do 3 or 4 years from the time they initially took the test. There are also positive aspects to this, which, like me in my case, you can be put in advanced placement classes, you could skip grades, be put ahead. There are many ways that it can positively affect you, but overall, I still believe that there are more negative ways that state tests do not benefit students. The state tests can also tell teachers their overall, how they did during the school year, what they taught the students. It's like a test for the teachers too, to show what they did. It's like a teacher assessment also. So it shows what the teachers taught the students and how well the students retained it, areas that the students and teachers need work or that teachers need to go back and touch on. It shows students where they've mastered. It shows all of that for teachers as well. So while these tests can be beneficial for teachers and students, they also have negative sides and impacts to both. So there's no right or wrong side to the standardized testing. There's no right or wrong opinion. Everybody has their own opinions. I just personally believe that given all the facts and information that I viewed, standardized tests are more of a negative impact towards students than they are positive. And I don't believe that it's fair for all students to be required to take it because not everybody's on the same level. Some don't catch on to things as quick as others, and everybody is put into a room with the same tests, the same questions, and expected to just know them all. And some students haven't had the same education. Some have been in one state all their life, so they've learned everything the teachers in that state have told them to learn. And some people move multiple times and have learned different things, different areas from different states, and are expected to know completely different things than the ones that have already learned there, which mostly puts military kids or kids that move because of their parents' jobs at more of a disadvantage. So when next time you take a test, think back to the last test you took. Your driver's test, ACT, SAT, a certification test to get a job. Some of them aren't bad. Some of them, like a driver's test, that's an exciting thing to take. It gives you a new level of freedom. But not all of these tests are positive, and there are bad things that can come out of every one of them. And they all pretty much define a person or a student of how they are. Some people aren't good test takers, and this one test defines overall how people view you and what they think of you as a student.